Viewers, it's another week and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Insight. Youth unemployment is a national challenge that has assumed the worrisome dimension in Nigeria. The precarious situation again came to the fore with the recent Nigerian Immigration Service recruitment exercise and the consequent unfortunate incident. Over 600,000 young Nigerians just sued for less than 4,000 spaces in that exercise. That alone speaks volume about the Nigerian unemployment situation. So how did we get here? What are we doing wrong as a people? And what can we do better? That will be the focus on our discussion segment today. The theme of the Nigerian Economic Summit this year was transforming Nigerian education through global partnership. The summit focused on how to enhance the quality of the Nigerian education system and how to create a synergy between the private and the public sector towards evolving a better educational system. Our guest on our special interview segment is the media past chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit. Anything is, of course, ready for the media review.
Thank you very much, Femi. Hello and welcome to this episode on Insight. Later on the media review segment, I'll be joined by a media review expert to discuss how issues have been reported during the course of the week. Do not go away. I am Eniton KDG.
And I'm Femi Adefila. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. Youth unemployment is one big issue that has become a thorn in the flesh of the Nigerian nation. A stark reality that stares us all at the face with its attendant socio-economic consequences. This morning is the focus of our discussion, and I'm privileged to have in the studio Fumi Obwe, a leadership mentoring expert, and of course an expert in human resources related issues and a publisher. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And of course I have a you-win winner, an educationist, Chioma Ezioma. She's been here before. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Let me start with Fumi. You are an expert in leadership mentoring and human resources related issues, and a publisher, of course. Let me tap into your human resources related experience. What are we doing wrong as a nation? You remember last Saturday, there was an incident across the nation. Nigerian youth died as they were struggling and jostling to have a space in over 600,000, in 4,000 spaces, over 600,000 Nigerians, jostling for. What are we doing wrong?
I think I want to start with just expressing my condolence to the families of the children that lost their lives, and of course to the country, because I think it's unfortunate that they died. But I think in terms of what are we doing wrong, of course unemployment is high in Nigeria. And so when you put an application out like that, very many people would apply. On top of that though, there are also some professions and some organizations that people like to work for traditionally. And I think we can, government obviously is one of them, and the immigration service is very attractive to young people. So there are two things. There's the manner in which the recruitment exercises are conducted, because we know that it's a very popular organization, a very popular profession. The manner in which we recruit, I think, should be very carefully thought about. But also Nigerian youths, the people who are in the unemployment market, they've really got to, I think we've got to demystify, we've got to sort of unpack this whole thing and say, there are very many jobs that are there that they don't want to do.
Are they in Nigeria?
They don't want to do them. There's still jobs where we get foreigners, some unskilled jobs that people can do but they don't want to do, they think it's beneath them. And of course there's entrepreneurship. There are many services that people want and they cannot get in this country. Nigerians are very good with, they're very quick, so we're very good with things like IT, we catch on fast. And many services that we get from places like India, from America, from Philippines now even, that people really just need to sort of think about it differently and we need to begin to sort of channel our energies and our, into those sorts of things.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Chioma. Chioma, you're an example of a Nigerian youth that has crossed the Rubicon, as it were, and migrated from the realm of a job seeker to the realm of an employer of labor. How did you get here?
I actually did have a job once, and at a point, before I even had the job, I started my own business. You know, there was a time when at school in the US, I got back to Nigeria and I felt I wanted to make a difference, you know. So I didn't readily start applying for jobs. What I actually did was I wanted to make an impact in the education sector. So I started training students who wanted to study abroad. And then after a little while on my other job, because I worked for an American manufacturing company, and I was the country director in charge of their whole business operations in Nigeria. And after a little while, I said to myself, the amount of work I put into working for that organization, if I actually put in that same amount of work, the same number of hours, I think in a number of years I'll become very rich. So I actually resigned and then started my own business, and it's paid off so far. And now we actually employ quite a number of people.
Okay, yeah. Let me come back to you. Do you think it's high time Nigerian government declares emergency in the unemployment sector, or how do you think we can tackle this headlong?
I think our president is certainly, I mean, he's showing a lot of leadership so far. In the budget speech last year, he made a lot of commitments. And to my mind, he made some very impressive pronouncements around job creation, around entrepreneurship, around things like diversifying the economy into the hospitality and tourism sectors, and of course, agri. And these are areas that really can create jobs. And I think, you know, himself and his cabinet members have sort of followed that through. Should they involve the private sector more? Should they involve the youth and say, you know what, the same way that we're tackling all the other sort of, you know, big topical issues like security and you know, the big issues in Nigeria, maybe unemployment should become one of those things that they fight a war against, particularly about after what happened on Saturday. Because, you know, the president, I think, is quite clear that it's not just job creation. It's also empowerment. People need to take responsibility for themselves and feel empowered.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Choma, how do we change the psyche of an average Nigerian youth about being an employer of labor from being a job seeker?
Okay, I'll be very honest with the Nigerian youth, and like she said, I really sympathize with those who lost their lives and those who got injured as a result of going to attend an interview / exam in a stadium or in stadiums all over the country. But in all reality, a lot of us look up to countries like the US, Canada, China, Japan, and the rest of them. But one of the things Nigerian youth need to realize is that a lot of these countries are capitalist economies, you know? And what does it mean to be a capitalist economy? It means that basically they're economic systems where, you know, trade, industries, and production are driven by individuals, you know? So the future belongs to us. We, the Nigerian youth, own the future. We've got to leave. It's good to look for jobs, but it's also good to think about all of the needs in the economy and find a way to fulfill those needs. That's how come America became America, you know? The young American youth today, even while in college, thinks about a need and finds a way to produce something or finds a way to engage themselves meaningfully in order to provide the needs, you know, and that's why America is largely driven by, you know, individual businesses. You know, in China, you know, after, you know, China had evolved and become a major manufacturer, you know, they created over 100 million jobs. So if the average Nigerian youth decides today that, you know what, while I don't have a job, because there's so many Nigerian youth sitting at home, you know, statistical data actually shows that they're over 23.9% of Nigerians are unemployed. What does that mean? About 1 in 4 are unemployed. While in the US, the unemployment rate is for January was right around 6.1%.
Okay.
You know, so if we all get up and, especially for those of them sitting at home and decide, you know what, let me try and find something I can do. Let me manufacture something. Let me make something. You know, you will grow. Yes, everyone. I started very little. There was a time I was the only employee in my company. I was the messenger, the teacher, the errand lady. I was everything, you know. But now I have nearly 8 other people working for me, you know. So if you start today and you say, you know,
take a decision.
And take a decision. That's where it starts.
Okay.
You know, you make a resolve in your heart that you want to do something. You want to add value to the economy. You want to add value to yourself. You want to add value to Africa.
But what about the appetite for white-collar jobs? An average Nigerian wants a job in the office. Do you want to say something about that?
I think to the skilled, which is what, you know, if you look at the skilled labor, so the person that decides, you know what, business is not for me. I'm not entrepreneurial. I want to get a job. What I always say to them is, decide very early on what kind of work you want to do. And that decision should be based on, what am I good at? What do I have a passion for? Let it be almost like you're playing. Let it be a hobby. Take that thing and design yourself. Program your life. Program yourself to go in the direction of what employers need, what the skills are required to do that job. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. Build your CV in such a manner that when you apply for those jobs...
I was going to ask you that question. That by virtue of your antecedent and of your experience, you come across a number of CVs. How employable are Nigerian graduates?
A lot of Nigerian graduates could be employable if they follow these basic principles that I'm talking about. Any structured business would have something we call a job description or a job specification. Those job specifications essentially detail what skills and what qualifications are required for that job. It's that simple. If I put that out in the public and you apply and you don't meet them, I am not going to invite you for an interview. If I invite you for an interview and you do get the job because you have some connections or the other, or you harass somebody or the other, usually you won't be able to do that job.
Or measure up.
Or measure up. And so you haven't really done yourself or the organization any good. So the best thing is, say, if I want to get into media, for example, I study media relations, or I study mass communications. If you haven't done that at undergrad, it's not too late, no problem. Do it at postgrad. If you haven't done it at postgraduate, there are lots of professional development programs that you can do. And then find a way to get into that sector young, early,
what was
at
key
the bottom.
In that sector?
Yes, at the bottom.
Yeah.
So identify areas where you can get professional development. That's what I mean when I say professional development. So short courses, and then get in there at an entry level position, even if it's as an intern or youth corps member, or as a volunteer, or as you know, like the basic. So
you rise through the ranks.
You rise through the ranks because you don't have the qualification or the experience. But a lot of people feel that to rise through the ranks, so for example, if you want to get into media, you can start off with being a cameraman before you start producing the show. But a lot of people will say, oh no, that is beneath me. I'm a graduate of accounting. But if you've decided that this is the area that you want to go, you leave your accounting degree or you get in as an accountant. But you've got to really be strategic with, you know, with the job markets. You know, just really figure out what area you want to work in. It may not be the traditional engineering or medical doctor or lawyer. It can be anything. I was saying to somebody the other day, my tailor, she's a graduate. She was marketing director of Coca-Cola. After a long time, she said, you know what, this isn't for me. And she started tailoring. And she's doing very well with it. She has tailors that are graduates, she has stylists, she's doing it with sense.
With sense.
With sense.
And benefits of education that she has.
Benefits of education.
Okay, now, that brings me to this question, Chuma. Do you think we need to redirect our educational policy to promote entrepreneurship, so that we inculcate it in our students as they're in school? We impact the knowledge in them, so that the psyche they have is not that I'm not going out there to look for a job. I'm going out there to create a job and do something. Do we need to do something about the educational policy?
Oh, most definitely. And I'll tell you why. The 2006 census conducted in Nigeria revealed that by then we're about 140 million, you know, and the annual exponential growth rate is about 3.2. So the estimated population for 2014 is about 180 million. Let's be realistic. The government cannot provide even 100 million jobs, you know? So whether we like it or not, there's still going to be so many people unemployed if the youth don't take this thing, you know, take the bull by the horns. So definitely, one of the challenges of entrepreneurship, especially in Nigeria, is lack of information and knowledge. You know, tax laws, legal structures, you know, basic accounting for businesses and all of that. And I feel it's very, very essential, just the same way they offer the general studies. It'll be very good if the government can incorporate some entrepreneurial courses that are kind of compulsory for students, you know, while they're in university. So when you graduate and you find, first of all, when you graduate, you know, while you're applying for jobs, I'm sure you'll start something because you're already empowered, you know. So I feel that that's very, very essential and will be a great idea.
Okay. Yeah. What do you want to say about that? Do we need to redirect? I don't know why I'm getting this word wrong. Redirect our educational policy.
I actually think it starts, you know, at home.
Okay.
It starts in the home. At the time when we were growing up, a lot of our mothers were entrepreneurs. A lot of them had businesses at home, but the children somehow, almost like I said, there's some very popular things that people feel they should be doing. They think working in government or working in the banks or working in the oil companies are the way to go. So I personally don't think you can really teach entrepreneurship. I think you develop that hunger and that interest from home, where you feel that it's not beneath you, it's not something that you cannot do. You know, in fact, it's much harder to get a job than it is to start your own business.
Okay. But most Nigerian youth complain about the fact that the condition out there is not favorable to evolving your own skills, as it were. You have no access to soft loans. You get to the bank, you are turned back. Thank God for you, that you can win 10 million.
Yes.
The banks are now encouraging youth. And of course, we have power challenge, social infrastructure. There's a gap in that sector. Do you think this is a challenge?
I mean, I think it's a challenge, but I don't think it's an insurmountable challenge. When I was in university, I used to sell shoes. Prior to that, when I was in secondary school, I worked in Nigerian Agric Bank, and then on the side, I sold second-hand clothes.
Vacation job.
Yes.
You don't even have that these days.
We don't have that these days.
No more vacation job.
No,
but
I didn't need to. I mean, every single holiday, my mom would send me off to go and learn how to sew hair or how to basket weave. I think there are different levels. And I think we all just need to realize, you know,
So what you're
level.
saying is that what your mom did assisted you and assisted to bring it out of you.
Yes, it did. It certainly assisted to bring it out of me, but I think the more importantly, what she did was to help me realize that it's not, I don't have to start at the level of Bill Gates when he started Microsoft. We don't, I mean, she always said, oh, like the fingers are not equal. You know, where you find yourself, make something of it. Grow your situation, add value, provide a service at the level that you can. It's good to aspire and it's good to be systematic with your growth. But don't sort of say, if I don't get 10 million naira from you win, I'm not going to start a business.
You have to follow your dream.
I'm going to wait. No. You can start with a basket of tomatoes. You can go and buy them. Most of us come from one village or the other that's agrarian. And so you start with that, you bring it to Lagos, you sell it, make a little bit of a margin, go back, do it. You grow. I do a lot of publishing on leadership development, on leaders.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like for them to tell their stories, because you find that a lot of the Nigerian people that are wealthy today, they all started small and they all grew. So starting small, sticking to it is the only way to grow in this country.
Chairman, as a youth, and last time you were here, somebody came here and spoke about how he has been able to make a success of his agricultural endeavor. Agriculture is one sector that has the capacity to take on so many Nigerian youth. Do you people discuss it when you discuss among yourself? I mean, Nigerian youth forum and stuff like that.
Okay, I really don't participate in a lot of Nigerian youth forums and all of that. But one of the major things that I would like to say about employing fellow youths is the fact that the agricultural sector really does have the capacity to hire a lot of people. But not only the agricultural sector, the manufacturing sector, you know, and a lot of other sectors have the capacity to hire, you know, a lot of other Nigerian youths. And one of the things I also realized about Nigerians is that, you know, like she had said initially, they have a can-do spirit. You know, Nigerians want to try different things. So I think Nigerian youths are not risk averse. You know, they don't have this aversion to risk and all of that. They like to take risks, you know. But one of the things, and that's why I said education is very essential, because it's good to take well-informed, you know, make well-informed decisions and take really educated risks, you know, and that's where the education comes in, you know. And just to correct a notion, I didn't start my business with 10 million given to me by UN, and that's what I'm sure a lot of Nigerian youths would think, you know, let me sit at home, if the government doesn't give me something to start my business, I'm not going to start. I sold my shares. I started from scratch.
Shares?
Yes, I own shares. I sold everything. When I had a job, there was a time I would save nearly 80% of my salary just to invest in that business, because I kept saying to myself, you know, when I was still vacillating, you know, do I stay on the job? Do I resign? And all of that. You know, I was saving 80% of my salary and I was buying inventory, you know. So a lot of the success we've achieved at the No Place has been born out of heavy sacrifice. And that's what I tell a lot of young people. There is no way you will achieve anything meaningful in life if you're not able to make sacrifices. It will cost you lifestyle sacrifices. Okay, you love to eat in the finest